don't win, don't give us the bird. Don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet with sponsors. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome aboard, everyone, to Betting Weekly live on Thursday, the 3rd of April. You're with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright. Delighted to have you with me today, Jack. Hope you've been doing well, enjoying the midweek Premier League round. Congrats on, well, both you and Nigel on some great winners.
It was a great week, wasn't it? Hey, hi, Steve. Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Looking forward to it, and everyone else who's joining us. So, yeah, it was a really, the most profitable Premier League game week of the season so far, largely down to Nigel, who went absolutely off the scale, off the charts, didn't he? And I blame myself for jinxing his only other bet, which was Crystal Palace. So the fact that I had that as my 2-unit play. But no, it's sensational stuff. And we talk about it on the show today. Sometimes it's not all about data and metrics. There's something else that we have in abundance in Mr. Seeley that is a very useful tool to have at this time of the season. Yeah,
the new Premier League show is already out. It was released 2 hours ago. So I'm sure some of you watching have already seen it. I hope everyone's doing really well. And sorry, we're a little bit slightly late coming on air. There's been an announcement that has just come out on the X feed of Because We Win that I can reveal that we are going to be starting some new live shows next week. It's going to be tennis related. And I can also reveal we've got 3 new handicappers / hosts joining the show. It's going to be called Betting Weekly Tennis Live. It's going to be at 1 p.m. every day, Monday through to Wednesday. And alongside the current tennis team, we've got 3 new guys starting. Dustin Fox, former NFL player. We've got Tim Dennis, who's actually going to be on the live show tomorrow with me, a new chap. And Mitch Michaels as well is going to be on board. So really exciting times. A new live show on this channel, Monday through to Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Exciting times, Jack.
Very much so. Strength to strength. You can't blink, can you? And it's Nigel's been so busy, and I did say to him the other day, I don't like giving him too much praise. It's twice on the same show now, but like I say, he's just going strength to strength, raising the bar, and the product is getting insanely good, isn't it? Let's be honest with you. It started off well, but so with the newsletter and the insider, obviously the live shows, which are great fun to be on, and like seeing a whole host of familiar faces that tune in every single day and not only listen and comment, but come up with incredible bets and angles and opinions themselves. So it's a real fantastic place to be involved at the moment, and I say it's onwards and upwards, certainly. So another, exciting new addition to the stable.
Yeah, I'd like to personally welcome all 3 guys to the team. Dustin, Tim, and Mitch. Go well, boys. Looking forward to seeing the new tennis live show in action. But welcoming everyone today. Disky Byron as well. He's thanking Nigel for that Ipswich moneyline play yesterday. Villa fan, great to see you. Great win for the Villa, and it was a hot dog of yours, Jack. It wasn't the only hot dog. The last 4 hot dogs have all won on Premier League and Betting Weekly Extra Time combined. So we're all
wait.
Great.
I say we're going from strength for strength. We're going to start our own hot dog business soon, or sponsor a brand or something like that. So it's quite incredible stuff. But Matt, I'm glad you mentioned Ipswich winning. I'd missed out on that. I hadn't heard that. That is news to me. So of all the teams I needed to hear constantly that they've won a game, that was probably not the one. But I did say to Nigel, so that's probably the first time I've been cheering on them. But I can't say that quietly, and we'll move on.
Umbrello Charles, good evening, gentlemen. I was heavy on Palace and they fumbled, and unfortunately, I actually got got caught out on that game. I backed a few of the goal scorers, Mateta and Nketiah. How does a starting striker not score against Southampton? I think that's really poor. But incredibly, the biggest soccer wager yesterday was a winner, and it was in the Southampton game, and it was $20,000 on Southampton plus 0.75 Asian handicap. I was going to ask you, Jack, if that was your money, but I knew you're on the opposite.
Check that account out. Check that account out. That's dodgy. That's funny money.
Like, I can't believe that. Like,
if they want to go, they obviously won. I was going to say, if they want to waste money and get rid of money that much, then just give them contact details. They can get in touch with me. But hey, look, what do I know? That was a winner. So
incredible winner. Wasn't even live either. It was pre-game. So, I couldn't have monopoly money on them. But $20,000, well done to that particular bet.
Only a small bet anyway.
There was a loser in the Fenerbahce versus Galatasaray under 2.5 goals. That was Turkish Cup, $6,000 on that. Did anyone see the fisticuffs at the end with Jose Mourinho?
Shock horror.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho is going to be in big trouble for doing a job on the Galatasaray manager there. But I don't
think he likes it in Turkey, does he? How many times has he now done it this season where he's tried to do something so they kind of export him from the country and say don't ever come back? It seems like nearly weekly that he's doing something naughty, Jose.
Biggest winner yesterday, nearly $35,000. Clippers minus 15 against the Pelicans at minus 161. Biggest loser was nearly $30,000. Kings plus 4 live. Minus 179 against the Wizards. I hope you did have a good Wednesday betting day. And we're looking ahead to Thursday. Loads of live streams you can get involved in here on betrivers.com or the app. We've got Copa Libertadores. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. We've got Copa Sudamericana as well. We've got 2 Swiss Super League games available to live stream. And we will be talking Swiss Super League today. It doesn't happen very often on Betting Weekly Live. Sporting Lisbon versus Rio Ave in the Portuguese Cup. We've got Turkish action as well with Besiktas, ATP Tour Houston, and WTA Charleston and Bogota in the tennis. So plenty of action on the live stream. It is a slightly thin slate, but there's always something to get stuck into. Good evening to Paul Laguna, Adam Thompson. Afternoon. Now Newcastle United. I am firmly in the Newcastle. the celebration police were in action last weekend, weren't they?
They were.
But, hey, they got the win 2-1, and I do believe that Nigel is in need of some Newcastle assistance this weekend. So I won't reveal everything.
There's rumours that he jumped ship. Don't take a lot for him to jump ship. He's jumped ship and possibly going with a pro Newcastle angle. It's only so we can go up there and have a couple of Newcastle brown ales with the locals.
Dave Clark's not having that Southampton play either. You do have to have incredibly strong faith or strong something. It's incredible bet. I think that's an incredible bet that someone has put that on.
Yeah, like I say, it's not even a +2 or something like where they go, well, they're probably going to lose, but I don't think they're going to lose heavily. That's I don't know where that's been plucked from. What are they seen to have gone? Oh yeah, that'll do. But yeah, there we go. It takes all sorts, and they say he's got in heavy there, or whoever it is has got in heavy there, and they've come out trumps at the end of the day. I bet they were loving the 10 minutes of injury time, 8 minutes, I think, wasn't it, in that one? So I bet that was a fun few minutes at the end. Well,
I was going to say, even you won the bet, but. Well, it took a few years off your life, probably back in Southampton.
I'm going to suggest if you're sticking 20k on Southampton to do anything positive, you can probably afford to lose it. I hope so, anyway.
Right. Okay. We're starting to get a few comments in chat about the Chelsea game. Coach Zanko, great to see you. Hope you're doing really well out there in Slovenia. But yeah, Chelsea are in action against Spurs. This is the big game of the day. There's not much competition, but this is the big game. Do you know what? I've really torn on this. I've ended up with a few player props, but Chelsea at minus 150 to win the game. That for me doesn't have great appeal, but equally the idea of backing Tottenham doesn't have much appeal either. The reverse fixture was something crazy, wasn't it? Was it 4-3?
It was indeed, yes.
Yeah, and initially I was thinking, look, gun to my head, I'm thinking goals. But then the goal line is generally around the 3.5 mark. It's actually gone out a little bit. It's plus 118 now for over 3.5. So I suppose over 3.25 could be viable. It's been a long time since we've seen these two teams into action, Jack. I mean, that in itself means there's question marks. There's players coming back from injury, but there's still a lot of questions about the starting 11 for both sides. Have you got any inside information who might be starting here?
Ange hasn't picked up the phone to me all day. I'm slightly concerned about it. I don't know what's happening there. Maybe we're falling out, but we'll see. So no, nothing much. Do you know what? The word is that you're going to see Nicholas Jackson start, and you'd imagine Cole Palmer will play as well. They're the two that you're going to look at and say that's going to be the most differential as far as the game is concerned. It's tough. We'll see. Obviously, this is a big game. It's going to be an interesting game. It's a London derby. These two aren't the best of friends. Tottenham obviously got a bigger rival, but generally speaking, these two don't really get on, and they want to get one over on each other. So it will be a good watch on that respect. Decent atmosphere as well, but it's a really hard one to call because we're generally looking at two sides here that are pretty inconsistent. So from a betting perspective, to nail anything with absolute confidence is really hard. You know, you look at some face value and go, well, Chelsea had a bit of an upturn. You know, they won like 4 or 5 games on the spin, but what was the standard of their opponents like? They were kind of hand-fed a few wins there, went to Arsenal, didn't really lay a glove on Arsenal, got beat. And I say, obviously now since then, this international break seems like a lifetime ago, as you say, since they last played. It feels ages ago since we talked about these on the Premier League show. A lot has obviously happened since then, and this is still the final game of that game week, and we've already got the new show out. So my lean on that particular show, if I remember rightly, was actually to take Tottenham on a +1 Asian handicap because they've not been great this season. Let's make no bones about it, but they don't tend to get beaten heavily, and I can't trust Chelsea to cover that handicap. The other side at this moment in time, you know, obviously there's talk that they were beaten by the first team were beaten by their under-21 side behind closed doors in a friendly earlier in the week. Is that relevant? Is that you make of that what you will? You don't really want to be losing that kind of game, do you, as a first team player? Anyway, regardless of what they were trying out, you know, if it was just fitness or tactics, I don't know. But yeah, they're not convinced. There's obviously discontent as far as Maresca's concerned. One of the favourites due to go. One of these two managers will probably be the next manager to get the sack if Ruud van Nistelrooy can hang on in there. But yeah, a tough one to call. But that's where I went on that particular on the show as far as +1 Spurs, meaning obviously if they lose by a goal, you get a refund. Anything better than that, then you're cashing the ticket.
Yeah, that was your lean on the show. Nigel quite like the under 2.5. Well, I say quite like that was his lean, I do believe.
Yeah.
Byron Muriel is saying Tottenham are playing better defence. He's looking at unders, and he's also liking the unders if Jackson starts. He's not always been the most reliable finisher, let's be honest. You know, he has had his moments, and I still think there's a player in Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah.
And he adds more than just goals. But yeah, if he's through one-on-one, he isn't the sort of player you would hang your hat on necessarily.
No. Steve, could you imagine Nicholas Jackson and Timo Werner on the same pitch at the same time? that would be a watch, wouldn't it? Which one's gonna hit one on target first? In a one-on-one.
I know. It would be.
Spurs have definitely changed, haven't they? Was it Byron who said that? Yeah, he's absolutely bang on there. That kind of gung ho style, my way, only my way approach from Ange has been watered down a little bit as the pressure's been cranked up, and of course, you know, the league is nothing to them at this moment, but I think they'll obviously want to take this game seriously. I think they'll also want to use this game to get some momentum going again. We've had a bit of conversation on the Premier League show, haven't we, as far as to say, you know, is it beneficial not to have been in FA Cup action or after the international break, or would it be just to kind of blow the cobwebs away a little bit and get some game time in the legs? So the jury's probably still out on that after the result. There's been a mixture, but yeah, I think, you know, for Spurs, they've got this game tonight, which is big. They've then got the legendary Southampton at the weekend. So I'm sure Matey Boy will have another 20 grand on that. That's probably more of a safer bet, I would suggest. And then, of course, they've got their big European night the following week. So I think they will see heavily rotated against Southampton, and they'll go pretty strong tonight.
Yeah, Southampton are plus 650 to win that game against Spurs at the weekend, which I thought is ridiculously short for a team that's hardly won a game all season. But anyway,
sheer weight of money, perhaps, Steve.
I'm not having that. I mean, not that you'd really want to back Spurs at minus 278 either in that match. But this one, I mean, mystery box. Someone's just described it as a mystery box of a game. I think that's a great comment, JC, and that is my opinion as well. I'm not getting involved in the money line. I'm not getting involved in the over-unders market in this match. My gut feeling, I've got to be honest, I think it could potentially go crazy if we get early goals. But that's a big if. You can judge on that. You can watch the game. You can follow the metrics and see how it's going. And if it looks like it's opening up, if there's an early goal, I might be striking. But let's see. Let's wait and see.
Steve, this one sticks in a mind. Can you remember that game last season when Ange had started the season incredibly? I think he'd won like most of his first 10 games, top of the table, and then they faced Chelsea, and it was absolute carnage, wasn't it? They had 2 players sent off. Romero was sent off in the first half, and then Udogie was sent off in the second half. And they held on, didn't they? And they played that stupid like high line where they think they caught Chelsea offside about 9 times. Jackson just kept running through, going, one of these days I'm going to get it right, and he did. And he got a hat trick at the end, didn't he?
It was the most pathetic hat trick I've ever seen because it was ridiculous. He must have had chances to score about 7 or 8 goals.
Yeah.
He scored a hat trick, and it's one of the few times I've seen someone score a hat trick and actually come out of the game with kind of discredit to his name because he should have scored 5 or 6. You know, there's a bloke who scored 5 goals in a game in a Swedish match at the weekend. You might have seen that. That's that's worth celebrating. Jacko should have had 6 on his own that night. In which case, we're looking now towards side markets, player props. Have you got anything for this game in those departments for us, Jack?
I'm on with Byron again. He's took the words out off my page. Cucurella, a player that I do like to get involved with. I do like him in his forward areas to get a shot on target, plus 525. Written down here, circled, underlined. And if I had a highlighter, I'd highlight it as well. I think that is a bonkers price. 2 shots on target last time out against Arsenal, and a shot on target in each of his last 2 games prior to that as well. He scored 5 goals this season. All 5 have come at Stamford Bridge. So he's a homer. I like to call him a homer as far as that's concerned. Tend to do their best work in front of their own supporters. That's it's got all the makings that again against Spurs he'll probably get good chances. This will be an interesting one as far as both fullbacks, the wing backs, the wide defenders, whoever has the best of those individual battles will probably be on the winning side come the end of the match. You're looking like Reece James, you're looking at Porro, and we've only talked about him, Cucurella. Jed Spence is coming on everyone's kind of radar at the moment as well for his contributions either on the right side or the left side. So as I said, it's going to be a really good one. I'm looking forward to the game. As a betting perspective, it's quite tough, and so I'd be dipping into these as you say side markets rather than going for anything on the main lines. Cucurella shot on target. I also like Enzo Fernandez at plus 110, slightly shorter price, but a player that's getting well involved as well at this moment. Scored, of course, for Argentina in that small matter of the game against Brazil. We'll gloss over that one as well, Steve. We will move on from that one. But that was he was one of the goal scorers on that night as well. So he's in good nick, good heart.
Yeah, that international day went from sheer ecstasy to sheer hell on one night, wasn't it? From the Israel-Norway game to the Brazil match.
Yeah.
I mean, I producer Troy gave me some notes for this game of the splits. I'll come across them soon. But also, he mentioned that Cucurella scored a goal in 3 of Chelsea's last 4 home games, and I wouldn't have actually known that. So Cucurella is definitely a player to look out for. My bet here for this game, or bets, is you just mentioned him there, Enzo Fernandez. Plus 108 for a shot on target. He's actually plus 575 to score any time, and he's over 1.5 shots is minus 114. I think all 3 are viable options. I might even take all 3 because if you look at his recent shooting stats, he's had at least 1 shot in every single game since the end of November. That's club and country, bar 1 match, and that was against Copenhagen at home, and he only played 45 minutes. He's had, I'm just working out, 8 shots on target in his last 8 games, scored 3 goals in that period. Again, that includes club and country. He's become more offensive. I think there's no doubt about it. In the second half of the season, he has just had more of a go. And, if we actually look at his shooting stats, he's got a high percentage of shots on target to shots ratio since Christmas. So he's not just shooting willy-nilly here like some of these Chelsea players do, like Madueke and things like that. Quality, he's intelligent enough to know with the right time to shoot. So he's a player that I trust, and also he should be getting 90 minutes as long as he doesn't get injured. So I really like Enzo here to deliver something today. Whether it's shots, might score, but I think that shot on target plus 108, if I had to take one of them, that would be my go-to for the game.
What's Enzo's to score or assists? Have you got that there, Steve?
I can certainly find it. He is, crikey, I'm still scrolling down it, plus 205 to score or assist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
4 goals, 5 assists in the Premier League so far this season. So I'd say he's kind of flitting between that. He used to be that kind of defensive midfielder, didn't he? That's kind of where he was started out with Chelsea, and he's certainly been allowed to break forward more. And you often see him in and around the box. And he is a guy, as you say, who will take a shot from range, but kind of at the right time, and yeah, kind of. He's very accurate with his shooting as well. Just looking at his set pieces, obviously on the assist side of things, Cole Palmer takes a lot of the set pieces, but he's had 50 set pieces in total across the season so far. 44 of those corners. So if he's on his corners, we know Tottenham can be a little bit shaky from set pieces. So that's going to build into that assist option as well as in open play. He's going to be well advanced, so he's got the screens behind him. So I like that. I'll have Kukurea for a shot on target then, and I'll put forward Enzo for a steal a bit of your thunder there, but I'll go with him to score or assist at plus 200 and a bit.
Well, I think a lot of the chat are in agreement with us here. Cucurella, Enzo Fernandez, there's an intelligent bunch in this community that we have.
We pay them well.
They're brilliant. There's some really good stuff. It's well worth looking out for. So I think those are 2 players that stand out in the player props market. I can tell you on the money line, 80% of that money is on Chelsea with 88% of the tickets. They're pretty well backed here. Over-unders completely split. 54% of the money's on the over. So, the bettors here can't decide whether it's going to be over, whether it's going to be under. The high line also might be making an impact there as well. What about Spurs players? Because we're getting a few comments here. I think Paul was asking, what about Richarlison to score any time earlier? James Maddison, we've had a few comments saying that he's a very good player. Looking at him to be getting... I mean, you can back James Maddison over 0.5 shots on target at plus 110. And now he's a player that's let me down before in this market quite a few times. But, he can... he's on free kicks. He does have the quality. You know a lot about this player, Jack. Is he someone who'd be interesting to go well in a game like this?
I would be interested in him. I say he's just been heavily rotated over the course of the season, isn't it? So this is one where you probably I'd look to have once team users out, then get involved, because I don't think the price is going to alter too much. It's just a case of who's going to be playing. We don't really know too much on that. I was just going to try and see the predicted lineup that we've got for it. Because you've got the likes of Brennan Johnson. Johnson's a player that I've had a lot of success on over the course of the season. So if he's there, get involved in him. Bergvall is a player that kind of pops up. I like him for a card for those states that can get involved in card markets. Either Bergvall and Bentancur are both good shouts for that. But I like Johnson as far as the shots and are concerned. Maddison is a player I think when he's on it on the day, he can put up silly numbers. So is one I'd always like to get involved in. And I do like Pedro Porro as well. He's a player that if he does play, then he's a player that I like a lot of. And I say keep an eye out for Jed Spence because he's going to be playing, probably if he does play, on the left-hand side, which might well see him kind of cut inside and have some joy there. I'd be kind of interested in him getting ahead of the curve a little bit to a certain degree as far as potential assist markets again for him, because I think he gets very well advanced, and so they've got a lot in and around the box that he can pick out there. So I've mentioned most of the team there, unfortunately, I know that, but I think for team news is the one to look out for. Attacking sense, Johnson and Maddison, and I do like Jed Spence to come up with something a little bit surprising.
There could be the sort of game where there's a lot of shots fired. The match shots line with Bet Rivers is 28.5. I did look at that over. Chelsea shot line probably interested me more at 16.5 because I think they're more likely to be firing away. Pedro Porro, by the way, plus 260 for a shot on target. Just looking through the comments here, Paul Laguna's
It'd be a bit wayward.
under 3.5, and an Enzo shot on target plus 240. Dave Clark is liking Madison to score, assist, or the score will be shown as a card. You can get that market as well. Giuseppe's liking Neto, a nice bit of value there, as we used to say back in
There's so many, isn't there? So many. Oh, very nice. Yeah.
One player I don't think has even been mentioned in this chat, and everyone is completely down on him now. He's gone. He's out of form. He's a spent force. I'm talking media overreaction and stuff here, but he is the favourite to score any time in this game, and that is Cole Palmer, plus 104. No one's interested in him now, Jack. Partly, there's question marks over his fitness. He hasn't been playing well. For me, it's a clear. We've got to wait for him to find some form, I think, before we could back him with any sort of trustworthy nature. But back in the first half of the season, plus 104 to score a goal against Spurs on a penalty taker would have been a massive price in a game like this. I can't go near him, but it wouldn't shock me if at some point he will come back because he's a quality player.
Indeed, so yeah, he's not going to be out of touch for too long. He's going to come back into it. Spurs have only given away 2 penalties all season, but both of them were in that reverse fixture that you talked about against Chelsea, which Cole Palmer scored both of them. So yeah, I think when you've got that up your sleeve in this kind of game, then absolutely get involved. The referee's Craig Pawson, another referee that I think has got the ability, if you want to call it that, to let things unravel. And one of those referees that you do tend to find the decisions will follow him around a little bit.
I love that analogy. He's got the referee's got ability to give out cards and things like that.
It's a market I love.
I agree with both Giuseppe there and Byron about the Haaland territory prices with Cole Palmer, and also, I'm looking at shots rather than shots on target. There are several individuals on that field who just have a crack a lot, and sometimes it is wayward. They'll spray it about quite a bit. But yeah, we've covered that game in really big detail. Hopefully we can get some good player prop winners on there. Good luck, whatever you're taking with the Chelsea match. And it's quite a thin card.
Steve. See you later.
Yeah, we well, that could be that, but we this is Betting Weekly Live. We always like to delve to new depths. We like to go around the leagues a bit, and we have, when we come out of here, we go. We've got Taca de Portugal, Sporting Lisbon against Rio Ave. Now, I've not got anything in this, and I don't think you have either, unless you've added something late. What I'll say for this game is domestic cups, I think, are tricky at the best of times. When you've got a minus 800 favourite, then I think it makes it even more tricky, really, doesn't it? It's quite hard to find value and lines there. Simon Holden was in Portugal last weekend, and I do believe he was staying at the same hotel that Rio Ave. I think it was Rio Ave was staying at the same hotel as Simon Holden. So whether that's a good omen or not, they lost against.
I'm sure they'll be telling everyone. That. So you never guess what we're important. Guess who's staying in our hotel? It's only Simon Holden. Seen him on the live shows.
Simon actually messaged me at the weekend and said I've had a word with these boys, and they're very confident. They were playing against a team called Casapia, and he said get involved. There might be worth a go. They took the lead in that game. They were quite a big dog, in fairness. They took the lead in that game and eventually fell to a 2-1 defeat. You would expect Sporting Lisbon to just have too much here. Sporting Club de Portugal, sorry, not Sporting Lisbon. You can't call them Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Club de Portugal here. Aside that, anyway, but we have also dealt into
Is Victor Gyökeres playing? I was going to say, if Gyökeres playing, I was then checking out his prices. You would expect them to be very, very prohibitive, given the fact that his side are minus 800, as you say, favourites to win it. If he starts, just get all over him for goals. He's just, any game he plays in Portugal, he scores, doesn't he? He's first goal scorer. I think I saw him at plus 165. I'd probably rather side with him scoring 2 or more goals at plus 215 if you wanted to have a bet on the game. And he's plus 750 to grab a hat trick, but plus 215, you'd have a little bit on that as an interest bet on the Taca de Portugal. Yeah, Gyökeres.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that whether Rio Ave can be completely in any fashion competitive in that game. But we were also looking at the Swiss Super League today, one of the most competitive heats to win the title in Europe this season. There's the top 6 are separated by 5 points, and there's
incredible.
there's not that many games left. These games kick off at 2:30 Eastern time, and we've got 2 matches on the card. Luzern, St. Gallen. We've both got something for this game, I think, Jack. Actually, Luzern, they're one of the teams in the mixer here for this title battle, or European spots. They're only 4 points off the pace. St. Gallen, I watched quite a bit of St. Gallen in European qualifying actually this season, and also in the Conference League, and they were very, very high scoring. Luzern are the favourites here. You can get plus money on them. St. Gallen knocking on the door of 2-1. What are your thoughts on this game, Jack? You've done a bit of research into it.
It's just a game that stood out to me, and I called you earlier, didn't I? I said, mate, have a look at this and tell me what I'm missing, because I don't understand how Luzern are plus 116 to win this. Everything points towards them getting the win here. I don't know if we've got any Swiss Super League fans in the chat or any Swiss in the chat, but let me know if we are missing something, because I just fancy, like, for me, that's my bet of the day. Luzern to win at plus 116. They won 4 of the last 5 at home in the league. The only one outside that so wasn't a win was a draw with Basel, who are possibly going to go top of the table tonight. Ahead of them, it could go second tonight. Luzern, with results go their way. Obviously, Basel is the only other fixture on, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Since St. Gallen are 8th in the table of 12 clubs in the division, 8 points behind Luzern. They lost 8 of 15 on the road, so not even got a strong road record. They've lost their last 3 on the road and all to 0, so not scoring goals. They met in February, so there's a very recent form line at this stadium as well. Luzern won that 2-0 pretty cozily. They also won in St. Gallen in September at the start of the season. Came from 2 goals down to win that one 3-2, and they won 3 of the last 4 head-to-heads. Just 1 defeat in the last 8 meetings between the 2 sides. So absolutely every single stone I looked under to try and find a reason why Luzern were plus money in this. I couldn't find anything to put me off it. So I've gone in, and that would be my best bet of the day. And so unless there's something that I really haven't noticed and aren't aware of, then I don't understand the price.
Yeah, I find that hard to disagree. The overs took my eye here, to be honest with you. I mean, over 2.5 goals is at minus 195. I'm not going to bet on that one minus 195, but the Asian total of 3 looks very obtainable for me as at least a push option. Luzern matches. I mean, I've not seen them play with my own eyes, I must admit. But 7 of the last 10 have gone over 2.5. If you look at their general stats this season, it looks very overish. St. Gallen, I mean, someone's mentioned there that their goals have dried up this season. I mean, from whenever I saw them in the European games, just the wide open nature of them, it wasn't always that goals were scored in the match. I was actually at this stadium last summer. I was in Switzerland for nearly a week. It's a beautiful city, Lucerne. I would recommend anyone to go there. Absolutely glorious place. I was swimming in the lake and everything. It's so I've got very good memories of this of the city of Lucerne. And yeah, so I mean that's your best bet of the day. What sort of price? What odds would you go down to if they were to be back going into kickoff?
Minus 110.
Yeah.
I don't think it will get to a point where I wouldn't back them tonight. I think that I've looked at it all day. There's not been any movement whatsoever in it. So I say if there's late money, then yeah, so be it. That's only confident money, I'd imagine. But it's at that price, I'd in my head I was expecting it probably to be somewhere in the region of maybe even minus 120. But I'd go to at this current level, I'd go minus 110 certainly.
Now, the other game on the card, I had a look at this. Basel against Grasshoppers. And that is their actual name, by the way, for those who don't know. That is their name. They're from Zurich. I mean, this is actually a battle between two giants of Swiss football. There is a huge rivalry here between these two. Back in the day, I mean, Basel have certainly enjoyed more of a success in the last two decades. Fallen a little bit on hard times in the last 2 or 3 seasons, but they could win the title this season. I think -278 is too short on Basel here, because I know Grasshoppers are second bottom of the table, but trust me, they will be giving absolutely everything. The away side has won 4 of the last 5 head-to-head meetings, which I think tells you everything about this match. It's going to be intense. They hate each other. I mean, I think the goal line might be a little bit too high as well. That might probably is the better bet, actually, on the under 3 Asian goals from what I've said. I know my history of Swiss football. I don't know as much about them this season. I've seen a little bit of Basel here and there. Grasshoppers, I've got to be honest, I've not watched a match with my own eyes. But whenever there is a big rivalry involved, I'm always looking, how big is the dog? Is the goal line too high? Just little leans here, just little things for people, because I know you can watch these games live on the Rivers app and the website. Just some thoughts, because I know it's a quiet day. I know they will attract attention that normally they wouldn't. So,
recent meetings not seen too many goals, have they? And as you Grasshoppers won the last meeting between the two in December. So, at the same stadium. So, you've picked out some value there by the looks of things.
Yeah, they are fighting for their lives as well, Grasshoppers. Just looking here, Effie Brilovsky, welcome in. Good to see you. Great trade museum in Luzern, I think. Basel's not such a nice place, by the way. I didn't really like Basel.
Don't you start. We had enough with like Rotterdam getting a kick in and Newcastle. I love both places personally.
Compared to Rotterdam, it's bliss. But I thought Basel's a bit of a disjointed place. There's better cities in Switzerland. There's a couple of questions I want to go back to here, Jack. Well, who is your favourite card candidate in Chelsea Spurs? And Grazer has asked us on the views of the Tarkovsky tackle. Listen, if I watched the highlights on Sky Sports over here, if Duncan Ferguson says it's a red card, it's a red card. That's all I'll say, Grazer, there. That's my opinion on the game. But the cards here, Chelsea Spurs, anyone that would stand out, the card line's it's minus money for over 4.5. So we are expecting quite a few cards.
Yeah, Craig Paulson, as I mentioned, is the referee. I did mention the guy that if I'm having one bet and one bet only, or one pick only, it would be Bergvall.
Yeah, the Swedish young star is the guy that you're going to look at there. Okay, we're going to finish off the show by just having a look at this Copa Libertadores. That is now underway in the group stages in South America. I used to bet a lot in this competition, Jack. I used to stay up all through the night and everything. And some of my favourite memories of betting in this, especially in the teams that have got high altitudes, I love doing that. On the card today, we've not got so much of that. We've got 2 big Brazilian teams in action, Internacional and Flamengo. Flamengo clear favourites away from home. They're against Deportivo Tátira. Bahia as well. Sorry, Bahia fans. I don't want to discredit you. They're the favourites here against Internacional. Now, anything on this card really catches your eye, Jack? I did task you to have a look at this card today. So let us know if there's any obvious bets that we've got to be getting on.
Well, it certainly filled my train journey back from London today. So thanks for that. I was wondering what I was going to do with myself. It was just a couple of the sides that obviously I said, look, I'll be brutally honest, this isn't a competition that's high up on my radar with stuff that I do. So it was a case of a bit of a fresh slate and seeing what is out there, digging around research as usual, finding out kind of fan feeling, which is sometimes a dangerous thing to do, but going through the social media and seeing what kind of the fans are feeling about it, because sometimes you get a view from the inside as such. So a couple of games or teams that I kind of got drawn to was Internacional. A couple of shrewd judges that I know of have actually put them up to win the whole tournament. So on that basis, again, then looking at the markets here to see them at a big outsider already for this one game, possibly a little bit of a surprise. A couple of the players that I recognised, Enner Valencia is playing for them up top, scored a couple of goals on international duty still, didn't he? Still doing it. So I noticed he's plus 270 to score. But the one that I probably know as well is Rafael Borja, who is at plus 290. And I think he might start ahead of Valencia. I'd probably go with one of the two. But if it is Borja who starts, then I'd go with him at plus 290. I think that's a fair, decent price. As I said, I think they were against all odds last season, weren't they? Like in Serie A. I used to get involved in the Brazilian football a bit, but 2 or 3 years ago. So I kind of kept half an eye on that side of things over the last 18, 24 months. But yeah, they were off-field issues completely out of their control, which made it a complete uphill battle to try and do anything positive last season. And they put a great run of form together, and they unbeaten over a long stretch of games. It was 15 or 16 games, and then they tailed off a little bit towards the end. But they finished 5th, which was a big achievement in itself. And obviously here they are. So a couple of nice additions, got some strikers that can score goals. Tends to be a bit of a recipe for success at this level. So I went on the goal scorers route in that particular game. And then one of the favourites to win the whole competition, Palmeiras, I looked at them. And one of the things that caught my eye with them is obviously they sold their star man, I guess you'd call him, to Manchester City in the transfer window. How they invested the money? Well, they spent somewhere in the region of $100 million on replacements for him. They've done a lot in the forward areas. They've looked to recruit effectively. Say, well, we want to be exciting. We want to be easy on the eye. We want to score lots of goals. So they've gone and recruited some big players. They bought Vitor Roque from Barcelona for $28 million. So spending a fair amount for the level that they're at. A couple of players that they've picked up from the MLS as well. Mikhail coming from Houston Dynamo. Again, most of our viewers will probably know more about him than myself. But again, the research on that seems to be pretty positive. $5.5 million for him. And for Kundo Torres from Orlando City as well. So $12 million in that kind of ballpark. So they spent a lot of money in this competition. They're up against one of the rank outsiders to win the tournament. And I thought when I looked at the prices, I expected the prices to be really much more skewed than what they are. If you look at the outright market, Palmeiras are plus 450 to win the competition. Sporting Cristal, who they're playing tonight, are plus 70,000. So that there's a lot. And again, Sporting Cristal were one of the kind of vocal supporter groups that I did pick up on, in that they just don't feel they've got any chance of being competitive at all. And we're kind of more focused on possibly dropping to the Sudamericano and being involved in that. So on that basis, I thought the -1 on a Palmeiras victory tonight looked quite appealing at -112.
Yeah, we've got a few comments in chat here for Ian Messina. He's liking that Palmeiras and Flamengo double banker. He's calling it a banker there. Tatiera is from Venezuela. I've got to say, I've never really heard of them. Now, Sporting Cristal, I used to bet on them quite a bit because they've been one of the top teams in Peru for many, many years. But when these Peruvian teams get involved with the big boys, it's a mismatch. It's as simple as that, really. Absolutely no doubt about it. I can tell you on the money splits for the game, 99% of the money is on Palmeiras for this game. No surprise there. 96% of the tickets as well. Plenty of money also on Flamengo. And I can tell you that top match there, LDU Quito, 84% of the money is on them. Do
you think, Steve, sometimes with these markets, you're right there, and like when you have the European competitions, if you're not really that knowledgeable on the competition, especially on a bit of a thinner slate, as we call it, that you just look at the stats and you'll see that, say, Sporting Cristal won 5-0 at the weekend, and you go, oh, actually, well, and you don't get that kind of correlation between the fact that they're in a really weak league, they dominate their particular home domestic leagues, and then they go up against, say, the might of the Brazilians, and they just can't come close to it. Do you think sometimes maybe the price is a little bit reflective on people going, oh, well, they won lots at home, or they've got a good record, we can get involved in them, and it's kind of made the prices a little bit more. I was surprised to see tonight. I was surprised to see Palmeiras at that kind of price against that kind of opposition.
Yeah, this can happen. You've got to This is where it can sometimes be difficult to assess how just how big the golfing class is. We know there is a big gulf, and this can happen in Europe as well, even in the Champions League. But in the South American regions, unless you're sort of local on the ground export or really, and there are some specialists out there who are really, really good on South American soccer, then it can be difficult. You can get sucked into traps. Known that before. The big thing for me, South American, is whoever's playing at home, check how high the altitude is. Obviously Bolivian ones are obvious, but there's other places like Colombia. The whole of the Andes Mountains run on the west side of South America, and you can get some random results where teams are a bit higher than normal. Strong home advantage. That's the number one rule for me.
It's like going to Oldham or Burnley here.
I think I'd rather go to La Paz.
No. Don't start now. I saw someone there actually in the comments there asking about is that goal scorer?
It's got do not cash out yet for me.
No. I wanted to make sure that we had a conversation on that.
We do not cash out yet. Tell you why. He's got Leicester. He's got Leicester to play next, and they've got a game in hand. And I tell you what, with Haaland out for the season now, all you would be, in my opinion, is a Mo Salah injury away from a winner, because I think he will. He's going to get there's 7 goals between them right now. I don't think the gap will be 7 at the end of the season. I think it'll be less. If Mo Salah wins the Golden Boot, it won't be by more than 7 for me unless he gets injured. But you definitely don't cash out now because you've got Leicester. I think they've got Palace soon, who will be looking ahead to the FA Cup semi-final. So, I mean, you wouldn't cash that out right now, surely, Jack?
No, actually, I'm on him pre-season, not at that price. I'm on at 16-1 pre-season each way, top goal scorer. And I'm definitely not cashing that out. I would not be cashing that 40-1 out. Absolutely not. You're right. Against Leicester, tricky tie for Salah at Fulham, away at Fulham at the weekend. And so that could be a 2 or 3 goal swing. I remember what Newcastle did to Sheffield United last season. They went there and won 8-0. So there's if it was to happen again, and if Isak well within his capabilities to go and score 3 or 4 goals, that price is going to be really shaved. And you're right, an injury to Salah, and you're laughing. That would be the wrong phrase to use. Then you would have been in a great position as far as the bet is concerned. But you look at the moment, Salah's not getting many chances at all in his last 2 or 3 games. It's really dried up for him. And I think a lot can be looked at that creativity behind him. They're trying 2 or 3 different players. He's used to having the likes of Trent over there, and they had Quansah over there a couple of games ago. Last night they changed it again. So they're trying to get that part of the team firing again, and I say it's not quite happening for him at the moment. He's not really getting the chances at all that he's had. So I would 100% be making sure you keep that one in your pocket for now.
Yeah, maybe assess how it's going, Danny, because Liverpool do play Leicester away 20th of April. See where the state of affairs is now. But Salah's not looked as sharp, perhaps. They're not as intense. I mean, Liverpool could be on the beach with 4 or 5 games to go, literally. And I think that I'm not ruling Isak out. I mean, I mentioned there during the show that there was a guy in the Swedish league who scored 5 goals in 1 game. It can happen. Someone can have a big haul. I think that's 5 goals is asking too much, but he could get a hat trick easily. Isak again. I mean, this Leicester game, I think he could fill his boots. They're that bad. But
there's not really anyone better, is there? So they've even got Manchester United coming up soon. So don't get much easier than that. They've got Newcastle. They've got Ipswich at home, and that's the 26th of April. So 4 or 5 games from the end of the season. Ipswich could be down by then. It would be a shame, but they could be down by then, and so that could be a massive game. Don't forget, Newcastle are absolutely gunning for that top 4, top 5 spot. So come that time of the season, and it could come down to goal difference as well. So it's not a case of we'll win this one 1-0, 2-0, and move on. There's so many things in your favour at a 40-1 price. Yeah, absolutely, keep it there. And he's the best striker in the Premier League at this moment in time by some distance.
He's top class. I've got an outright ticket home as well. Yeah, I'm on each way, so I'm going to get some sort of return. Yeah. So either that, Daniel, get on the blower to get on the phone to one of these Tarkovsky-like players who might try and go in hard on Mo. And anyway, Shakespeare's in chat, so we've got to pick our ears. He did give a guaranteed bet earlier in the week. San Diego Padres to make the playoffs is now -165. He gave it out at -110 on the channel a few days ago, and he actually said put some pizza money on them to win the whole thing as well. So it's
what currency does Shakespeare deal in? I'm not quite certain.
A lot of money. The way the winners that he's been giving out, whatever the currency is, it will be plenty of readies, as we say over here. Yeah. But that concludes the show. It's been great fun talking about some different leagues. A lot of questions. We've been able to answer a lot of questions today as well, which is great. The interaction.
I knew it would be a quick one, Steve. We didn't have a lot to talk about.
Shekels, he says. But just I said at the top of the show, for those who are in now, a new live show is going to be released. Going to start, next on Monday. And it's going to be every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday each week. It's a tennis live show. We've got 3 new guys joining the Because We Win team. There's a tweet that's been put out. I think it's been pinned already. But Betting Weekly Tennis Live starts on Monday. Dustin Fox is joining the show. Mitch Michaels and Tim Dennis. And Tim Dennis is going to be joining me tomorrow. He's going to be his debut on Betting Weekly Live. So we're going to be talking. I'm going to be plenty to say about the Euro soccer card, but there's also going to be tennis on the menu with Tim Dennis. So we're looking forward to that. Do join me and Tim tomorrow. And Jack, best of luck, whatever you're taking today. And with those weekend plays in the Premier League, check out the Premier League show as well. That's what you got to do if you've not seen it already. But enjoyed this one, Jack.
Your show should be out. Was it out later today, or is it going to be tomorrow? There's so much going on.
There's a lot going on. I don't know. It will be at very latest. It'll be out tomorrow afternoon UK time. So
print the money and the newsletter. Don't forget the Insider will be out this weekend as well.
So much, isn't there? There's so much.
And that's a very competitive Insider now because we've got that league table, the Handicappers League table, and we're getting beaten currently by John, the producer. And I see he's now starting to tip up things about -170 just to try and hold on to that lead. And Husey, the editor, we haven't proofread his P&L league table, but he's got himself up in the top 2. So the challenge is on for us handicappers. We need to pull our fingers out and get above these boys.
I'm just looking at the league table now. John Izzard. Shout out to John. 3 picks. 2 wins and 1 push. He's actually plus 3.10 units. Surprise, surprise. James Easton's in second place. Well, you expect nothing less, do you, from James to be in the top 3? And Paul.
What I would say, Steve, sorry on that one, just to cut you on, I noticed today is picks, which I'm not going to reveal, of course, because they're exclusive to the newsletter and the Insider. Subscribe if you haven't done already. He's gone for 2 big plus money plays. He's got 2 picks out this weekend, and they're both big plus money plays. He's bringing out the big guns. You don't want to miss that.
You don't. I'm just putting the link in now for those who haven't subscribed to it. I'm sure most of you are already, but if you're not, that will be coming into your inbox, I think today or tomorrow. But big shout out to the producing team there, John Izzard, and also Paul Hughes is doing a great job with some of these newsletters.
It's great content, isn't it?
Simon Holden's bottom of the table at the moment, but it's early days. Only been 3 picks, so
Well, he's Everton fan. He's used to it, to be fair, so that's fine.
And a big, while we're on talking about the production team, big shout out to everyone who works behind the scene. All the graphics we see are from John. We've got Troy and Max in the background here on Betting Weekly Live, and to say the newsletter with Paul Hughes there. So thank you everyone who came in today. Best of luck whatever you are taking. Remember to gamble responsibly, and join me tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live with the new man, Tim Dennis. Take care, Jack. See you next time.